understand?
Yes, tell us.
So I have a problem at home with my wife, and she's not listening. She's not giving me the respect that I deserve as a man. And sometimes when I come home, my food is not ready. I'm very angry, in fact, we don't have peace at home. So I don't know what to do. So I don't know if you can talk to her.
Thank you. So, yes. What was he doing? What was he doing? He was talking to me. So what was he giving to me? He was giving me an information. As a counselor, what do I have to do? I have to listen. So counseling involves two things, talking and listening. So when your client is talking, you must listen. Then when he finished with whatever he was telling you, he must also keep quiet, and as I talk, he listens. That's what counseling is about. Is that okay? Please, is that okay? Okay, so we are going to do some technical things here. If you listen to what he shared with me, what problem was he telling me? It was a marital problem. As of you, you know too much. Let them. He was telling me, he was giving me a marital problem. Now let's break the problem into smaller parts. What are some of the problems he's having in the marriage? Yes. Disrespect. And then what else? No peace, lack of peace. Insubordination. She doesn't submit. Great. So as a counselor, as you listen to your client, you have to tabulate the problems he's talking about one by one. Are you getting it? So that's why you have to be a good listener, because it is wrong in counseling as your client is talking. Your mind is wandering, and then you say, can you repeat what you said? The client will know that you are not serious. He might go away from you and never come back again. I was talking, this man of God wasn't listening to me. He was even on phone, laughing with somebody, whilst somebody is in pain and sitting in front of you. So in counseling, basically, if there's a client before you, unless the call is urgent, an emergency, even you take permission from your client, please hold on. My wife is calling. I have an appointment with this person is calling, so give me just 2 minutes. I'm coming back. For your client to know that you've paid attention, because people can die. The reason why people seek for counselors is because they have issues and they think they have nobody to tell him. And every client goes to a counselor who can keep confidentiality. Very important. So as he tells you his or her problem or his problem, you have to listen to it. So he's talking. You can have a small paper. He talked about insubordination. Then you write it. He talked about disrespect. You even mentioned about delay in the way in your food. He doesn't give you food on time. You understand that? So when he's done with whatever he was saying, then you have to take the problems one by one. That is how a counseling session should be. Now, what makes this second thing, counseling in the long haul, is that the problems your client has told you, the counselor, have to tell your client that, having listened to your story, I think I can use 1 month to help you. That is what we call the long haul. It's not on the spot. Have you seen it? Now, let's look at the difference between counseling on the spot and the long haul before we move on. When you are doing counseling in the long haul, you, the counselor, your goal should be that after 1 month, your client will not depend upon you, but depend upon Christ. That's the goal of a counselor, Christian counselor. Can I explain again? The goal of every Christian counselor should be that your client who is sitting there with you, when you talk to him, definitely another problem will come. and you don't make your client to always depend upon you, even the little problem that happens in the house. Pastor, listen. Pastor, I cook and he didn't eat. God expects us to grow so that little twist, we can mature to solve them ourselves. That's the goal of counseling. But when you are doing on the spot, for example, Pastor, I fought with my wife this morning. I'm going back home. What should I do? Oh, when you get home, greet her. When you get home, just hug her, that kind of thing. So the person goes home and greet. The wife never responded. Then you call back, Pastor, I greeted her. She didn't respond. What should I do? So when you are doing counseling on the spot, your client will depend on the advice the pastor will be giving all the time. But if it is a long haul, you need to have a program for your client, which at the end of a month or two, they will be able to stand when the problem comes. Because that's what Christ, you can't depend on your pastor, on your counselor, so that it got to a point, even if you want to travel, it is the pastor who will say that the road is okay for you to go. Spiritually, it is not safe to travel. It shouldn't be like that. You should be able to stand firm. It is very common in Africa, Pastor, should I go? So when the pastor said that, no, the road, the big God, they are playing God. So back to the point. There is counseling on the spot, and then what? Counseling in the long haul. The difference between on the spot and the long haul is that the client will depend on the counselor to take the next step of action. But on the long haul, your aim is to guide this person to be able to solve some future problem. Is that okay? Can we have another chair? Please, you come here. So you are going to be a counselor? No, put it here. Hello? Please come. Hello? So these two people are going to marry. And pastor has given committee. It happens here. So they've gone to pastor to say, Pastor, we are enough. We will marry. And pastor says, okay, go and see the marriage committee in 3 months. What type of counseling are you going to do here? Which one? Which one are you going to do here? Huh? Yeah, premarital. The question I'm asking is, which type of counseling? Don't tell. I've given you 2 types of counseling.
Okay. Long haul.
So you're going to do a long haul because I made mention of 3 months. It's a long haul, not on the spot. If it is on the spot, come. You come. Those church and one of tells you want to marry on the spot.
I will tell them that.
No, if they tell you stand it after church, and they, if they don't, for example, they don't come to, but they fetch you, I've told you what to make people come. Not necessarily because they want to do long haul. For them, they don't know anything about long haul or on the spot. It is you who knows. Yes. So what are you doing? On the doing? Advice. You have to learn faster. The time is short. On the spot, you give them advice.
The advice, I can't give for them.
So that's why you will tell them to come to the long haul.
Yeah, but that's why.
No, you don't go to long haul straight. Listen to them. Probably they need advice for the day. They won't come to work. People can choose to tell you their problem. They don't need this. They need some answer for the day. They want a short advice, even for the day. Like, I fought with my wife this morning before we came. I'm now going home.
Pastor, because like this one, for example, come and tell you what advice that I think what can okay, I'm sorry. That comes marriage. You know, it's a broad
You are making it a broad issue. The point, the lesson you are learning is that those who have come to you, they don't know anything about counseling in the long haul. They are not even Christian. They are in love. But in the community where you stay, they think that there's a man who lives in the community, a nice man. They see you going up and down with your wife and your children. Why don't we approach this man? And then ask him that we want to marry. What advice can he give to us? They are not saying that they want to come to counseling. They need advice. So on the spot, tell them something. It's a good idea to find yourself. I suggest that go and be. I suggest that as a man, what work are you if you advice? But
On the
when they
spot.
come on the spot, but when they say to you that you want to come for some advice, then you will say that let's find time. Then you are going to do a lot. So either they come to your house or you meet them somewhere. Then you are going to tell them that if you want to marry, let's have 1 month fast. I would like to meet you every. That becomes a long haul. But any problem somebody else, if it is on the take it. For most long haul. Is that okay? So go and sit there. Because I've told you that if somebody talks to you on the spot and you don't give advice to the person, you will die. Because it is at the spot that the person is looking for some answer. Haven't you heard in Europe that people commit suicide and people allow change run over them? And so imagine the person will not tell you, I'm going to kill myself. But maybe the person comes and say that, brother, I don't think life is being fair with you. I don't understand life. He tells you something yes. Then you say, oh, okay. If life is not fair with you, let me go home and then I'll call you this. Then the next hour you say that the man who was talking to you has committed. So anybody who meets you at whatever spot, whether in the market, wherever somebody meets you and he tells you a problem, I said it doesn't require professionalism. It calls for saying something, and that thing is advice. Because the reason why the person is telling you his problem, he might have overstayed you for a long time. That's why the person. Are you getting that? So at the spot, give advice. But when you hear the person and you feel that the issue that the therefore this lesson that we are doing in my school, we do it for about. Imagine I'm doing one. How can you a 6 months course? That's why we are doing the demonstration. Yeah, it's a crash course. I've told Pastor that maybe next year So these people want, and you are a member once in a week. It means that every month you have 4 weeks. So for 3 months, it's going to be 12 weeks. Okay. So the 12 weeks, these two people, they are called will-be couple or premarital counsel. What will you be teaching them every week as they come? Are you getting it? I'm not saying tell me. So you need to have a program for that 3 months or the 12 weeks. Okay. So this man has found somebody. Some of the questions you can ask them is their knowledge about marriage. It's very important. I don't know whether I have brought this book here before. Okay. So this is the book I use basically in my school when I'm doing marriage thing. So first of all, you ask them, it's very important. The first day, you have to ask them what they know about marriage. And I said that counseling involves 2 things. What is that? Listening and talking. Thank you very much. So, as you ask them, they have to talk one by one. Papa, what do you know about marriage? As he's talking, keep quiet and listen to what he knows about marriage. Then when he's done, ask the lady, what do you know about marriage? And if you know or if you think the answer they've given is not enough, then you allow them to keep quiet and then you tell them. Based on what they don't know. You understand that? And then maybe you can use this material. Chapter 1 talks about precept for success or foundation for basically for marriage. You can study and then teach them. They will come another week. And then you ask them, where did you people meet? Is your parents aware of this union? What are they saying about it? You can ask the man, why have you chosen this woman to be your wife? Basically, the things we ask them when they're having wedding, we ask them in the counseling session. There are so many women in the church. Why have you limited yourself to this girl? The guy should tell you. Yes, very good. When he is done, you can also ask the girl. There are many guys in Belgium, many guys in this church. Why have you limited yourself to this guy? Tell us. When you find that the answer they are giving doesn't carry weight, then you, the counselor, have to come in. So what I'm talking about is that to be a counselor, you should have a program for the client you are giving care and guidance. Because at the end of the day, before they come to the altar for the pastor to bless the marriage, at least they should have about 70 to 80% knowledge about marriage. Theoretically, they should have an idea what marriage is about before they enter. Okay? Another question you can ask them is that, okay, let me say it this way. In the counseling process, there is something we call closing the back door. Those of you are writing, closing the back door. The closing the back door is when you want to know the background of the two. But when you are doing that, you don't sit them together. Else, they won't give you the truth. So you pick them one on one. So for example, the lady should go away. She will come later. So you ask the guy, is this girl your first girlfriend? Maybe she will say yes. Oh, okay. Then it means that she doesn't have exes. Are you, okay. If this girl is his first girlfriend, it means he doesn't have an ex-girlfriend. Are you okay? Then he says, no, she's not my first girlfriend. Then it means he has an ex. As a counselor, you're going to find out. Probably, the reason why you are doing this is that probably this guy still loves the ex. It's possible. Because there are cases where exes here, their boyfriends are marrying and they want to destroy it. Because they feel cheated. Sometimes in that relationship, you had a child with her, only to dump her and come in for this girl. And they want to come and destroy it. So that's why you want to close the back door for him. Please, are you getting the thing? So closing the back door is that you are helping him to be able to handle his past well before he comes to this. Next year when I come, I will bring you some materials on how to collect data. Is that okay? Because you need to have the data of your client. The name, the address, all the things you are asking, you should be able to put them so that in their absence, you take it again to know what actually transpired between you and the person when you were doing the counseling. I hope you are getting the thing. So, before two people step into these things I'm teaching, there are many counselors who are not familiar with it. They don't help the will-be couple to close the back door. So people marry and later you begin to hear stories. And sometimes some people will say that my wife still speaks with the ex-boyfriend. My husband still sees the ex-girlfriend. And that alone can generate a lot of problem. So you go into her past relationship, and sometimes you know something. Some people have experience in their past relationship, but they don't tell the woman or the man they want to marry, for fear that if I tell him or her, I might lose him, or he or she will not marry me. Sometimes people have a child or two from a past relationship, and they hide it. They catch them now, baby, you love every day. They catch and say me woba, obejame, and then they will say, my sister's daughter, and sometimes they will go and give the child to their mother somewhere. And after they've married, one day the lady will be waking up and say, Charles, can I tell you something? I've been thinking it is disturbing me. I want to tell you the truth, something I hid from you. When I met you, I had a child. Huh? Oh, it will collapse. What happened to it? Share with us. You will be disappointed. Thank you. I had this lady who came to me. She had married a man who was impotent. What's the question?
No, like you said, like
Please, if you have a question, because our time, if you have any question, just
like this issue you are saying is a very powerful teaching. You know, a lot of marriages are after the marriage, maybe you see 1 year, 6 months, problems. Okay, like you said, closing the back door. What about issue? Will you also discuss about some issues? Because I've seen, I think in Europe, sometimes they go and ask them to do blood tests to see if they are. I forgot how they call it. Yeah, something like that to see if
Yeah,
to have a good. Yeah,
yeah,
sickle cell patient. That's it. And secondly, again, this issue of if a woman or a man knows he or she has a problem before coming into the marriage,
problem like impotence.
yeah, people, would that also be addressed
Yes.
in that
Um,
in the back? That's another close back.
that is why you don't see the two together. Because in the act of helping them to close the back door, you want to fish out what is there that up to the time they sit before you, they've not shared among themselves because of fear. Because whether you like it or not, if you don't share and the other party got to know, the problem will be bigger than if you had shared it earlier. Are you getting it? So, okay, you have a question. Mm. Mhm. So I'm coming to that. Thank you. The reason it needs wisdom, but
Because
you will do it. Yes. Let's pick it. Mm, mm. Okay. Okay. So I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. You see, that's why we don't take empowerment for granted. A program of this nature. Sometimes things are announced in the church and people think, oh, this one, they take everything for granted. The question you asked, you see, if you're about to do the backdoor thing, I said you don't see the two together. Why? The fear that what I have kept secret from him, if you put us together and you want me to disclose it, that will not be possible. So that's why you pick them one on one. Possibly you can say to them in the next session that this Sunday, if you meet them on Sunday, say this Sunday I will meet you alone. You don't come. You don't need the girl or the lady around. And maybe you can pick him for 2 weeks and pick the lady also for 2 weeks. And I said that counseling hinges on confidentiality. They've been dated for maybe 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. The lady has kept a child she had in a previous relationship from this guy. They are madly in love. Probably this guy knows the girl very well that she doesn't have a child, but the girl knows that she has a child. So why has she not said to the man? She's afraid. So when the guy tells you I have a child, you keep it. You don't go and tell the lady. I'm coming. So don't forget that the lady also will come. When she comes, whatever he told you, you don't say to her because you keep it as confidentiality. Don't forget that they have been in relationship. They've not told themselves. You are not the one to tell. So what you're going to do is that. What's your name, please? Ima, you've told me this, you've told me this, you've told me this. Is your Wubi aware? And he said, no, I haven't told her. Okay. So how can we tell her? You ask him. Ima, we must, for this one, we must tell her because somebody will tell her.
Yeah.
As you marry her, somebody, she will know. So it's better you say it.
Yeah.
No, he will tell, not you are going to tell. You are helping him to tell her.
Okay, Pastor, what
Okay.
if he says we shouldn't say it, we keep it a secret? If he tells the counselor that
I'm coming.
yeah,
Where, very good question. Where he or she tells you that, let's keep it a secret, then you tell her that, you see, no, I'm coming. I said in counseling you need to have a data. So you write in the data, Emmanuel confessed to me that she has a son in a previous relationship and she doesn't want me to tell the would-be wife. That is what he had told you. Then you, the counselor, say to him that, please, what about she get to know? What will happen? So for here, you have to engage him because you are the counselor. Tell him the potential problem ahead of him based on what he's telling you. Your work as a counselor is to bring everything so that before they come to the altar, they don't have things they are hiding from. Let me land before because when the lady get to know, and based on that, she said to the pastor who blessed the marriage, I'm not interested in the marriage. The marriage can be abrogated. Why? Because it was not built on truth. It was not, the marriage was not built on truth. At the point you came to the altar, you had a secret you kept from your partner, and the marriage can be cancelled, annulled. Is that okay? So basically, as a counselor, one of your work is to bring out the truth. It hurts, but bring the truth to him. So when you ask him, why haven't you told your partner about this? And he says, I'm afraid. You are going to allay the fears. So let's find a better time. Go and pray about it. Let me give you 2 weeks because I'll be talking to your fiancé. After 2 weeks when we meet, will you like me to open up this to your spouse or to your fiancé? That is that is part of the closing the back door. Now, still on the closing the back door, there are things apart from this. There are people who have exes. That's one. There are people who have issues with the government, like they've gone to jail, they've been to prison before. They don't want to say it. There are people who have problem with their family. There are people who owe huge amount of money. They took money for debt. You see, the counselor, what you are doing is that you are helping your client to understand that any problem they have, whether small or big, that they find it difficult to share among themselves, if the other partner gets to know it, the partner can base on that and say that I can't continue in the marriage with you. The question the engineer asked about the pastor, to be honest with you, not the pastor per se, people who are impotent and they know they are impotent and they continue to marry, this is the problem they have. There are issues about marriage or issues about relationship that is not a problem for these expatriates, these whites, but for Africans, it's a big problem. When you see an African who is impotent and he goes on to marry, this is the problem. You know, for Africa, when you get to a certain age and you are not married, people begin to suspect you. It doesn't happen to white people. Whether he's 70 years and he never married, nobody cares. It's only in Africa. You grow to a certain age, before you even approach a woman, the woman will begin to suspect you that you're not a good person. Why is it that at this age, a 50-year-old man is not married? I'm the first to marry. The woman will run away from you. It's a problem in Africa. It's not in anywhere. It's an African problem. Number two, you know, in Africa, when you marry and after 30 years you don't give birth, it's a problem. But it's not a problem here. They don't like children. So for African man to be impotent and go ahead and marry is a social problem. He wants to save his face from disgrace. But we've come into a stage of life. Let me do a little because I did it when I did my master's. We've come to a period of time in the world. If you're a counselor and you meet a man who says he's impotent and he wants to marry, advise him to marry a woman whose husband is dead. Number two, advise that man to marry a woman who doesn't necessarily need sex. And he doesn't necessarily need sex. He needs somebody to be with. So today, you can, if you fall in that profile, you can put your picture on social media, Instagram or whatever, Twitter. You can put your picture there. I'm looking for a wife, but not for sex. And you get plenty people.
I saw it like that on
No,
Facebook.
it's there. It's there. Today, you can't be there and say, I don't have a woman to sleep with. I don't have a man to sleep with. At any situation you find yourself, that's your kind of husband or wife.
Oh, yes.
That's where the world has become.
Yes.
Yeah, if they agree and disagree, it means the person has also been unfaithful to you. You understand that? That's why marriage is an agreement. And only Papa, listen to me. Only African will do that. You see, I was talking to somebody. Let me put this in quote. I was talking to somebody that it's about time for people to stop thinking, I'm an African, I must marry African. I'm a Ghanaian, I must marry Ghanaian. I'm from Equiapim, I must marry an Equiapim. Listen to me. Today in the world, there are women in this country elsewhere who are badly looking for husbands, not for sex. They are looking for husbands who can give them kiss, a provocative, a romantic kiss, not sex. Why? Is because they themselves already have a problem with their vagina. There are a lot of women who have gone into prostitution when they were young. You can't have sex with them. Why? Because the organ is spoiled. So they are looking for a man who will not even come there. So if you are impotent and you get a woman who is also has destroyed the thing, you use your mouth.
Some people just need the company. Just company. Somebody.
That is it.
Yeah.
So don't sit there and think, I can't get a wife, I can't get a husband. And one other thing, let me put this one here before we continue because I need to stop and give you time to ask questions.
Pastor, I don't know.
I should go on.
Yes, God.
When you start doing courses like this, okay, this one I don't want you to forget. When you start doing courses like this, you want to be a counselor and give guidance and help. There are two types of spectacles you have to wear. Okay? The first spectacle, we call it Christian spectacle. When you put on the Christian spectacle, it helps you to see things only from the Christian perspective. Okay? Now, if you want to be a counselor, you can't only look at everything that comes to you from a Christian point of view. So the Christianity is your foundation. Your leg must always be on it. Why? Because some people will have issues. You have to look at it in a broader spectrum to be able to help them. Thinking out of the box. So the second spectacle you have to wear is called world view spectacle. Is that okay? When you look at Jesus and the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman, if you study that scripture, John chapter 4 carefully, when the woman met Christ, the first name she called Jesus was a Jew. He said, how can you, a Jew, ask water from me? In fact, when she met Jesus, She saw Jesus as a mere Jew, as one of those Jews in town. But as the talking was progressing, she said, "Sir." She moved from knowing Jesus as a mere Jew and then to say. Then the conversation was getting deeper, and then she said, "Are you a prophet?" So she had moved from a mere Jew, seeing Jesus as sir. In those days, somebody said it's like a respectable person, yeah, honor. Then a prophet. Then she went to the fourth stage. "Are you the Messiah?" Then she ran to the city to say, "I've met the Messiah." Why should Jesus stand there and allow the woman to know him gradually? Are you getting it? So that's the spectacle you have to wear. You have to allow people to understand the care and the guidance you are giving to them gradually. It's powerful. Because they have lived in a certain lifestyle for years. You can't take that lifestyle from that person one night or one day. Only the Holy Spirit can do that. People need time to grow and change. So, for example, like the child he has and he's trying to keep it from the lady, it has been something that has bothered him for years. Let me give another example. A man comes to you as a counselor and says that, "I have cheated on my wife. It is disturbing my mind, but the nature of my wife, if I tell her, my marriage will break down." Are you getting it? He has cheated. And probably he can't sleep. Probably it's giving him sleepless night and troubles in his mind and things. He can't even eat. Then he comes to you. And then you say, "Oh, let's tell your wife. As for this one, your wife must hear." No, you want to break his marriage. Because he has told you that the nature of the wife, when she hears this thing, the marriage is over. So you have to allow your client to see the need, maybe to tell or to keep it a secret or forget it. Because there are some things, like as we are talking about, if the wife will not hear, it will not be a problem. That's why we say, let sleeping dogs lie. So back to the point. We want to close the back door. You talk to him. You ask him questions about his past, relationships, and if he tells you some, as a counselor, you should be able to tell your client. So get up and you come. Now, watch this carefully. As the lady sits here, at the back of her mind, she knows that her boyfriend had been with you for 2 weeks. And sometimes, interestingly, before she comes to meet you, they have met. And the question was, what did she ask you? So the second person is coming with something at the back of the mind. Okay. So sometimes you have to change the questions a little bit. This one needs skill. Because if you're going to ask the same question, though you ask, but you have to twist it. So you can say, "Are you a virgin?" Or, "Is he your first boyfriend?" Say, "No." Okay. "Why didn't you marry your ex, but you want to marry this guy?" You twist it. "Why didn't you marry your ex? Why do you want to marry this guy?" So for here, it needs some kind of skills. And you said something, it needs a little wisdom to be able to help them. Now, having met them one-on-one, now you are going to meet the two of them together. And you, the counselor, they have confided in you. The lady has told you so many things about her past that she had not been able to tell us at now, the boyfriend. The boyfriend also has some things she had kept top secret from the lady that she even doesn't want the lady to hear. But they have told you. Okay, so now what are you going to do? Can somebody give us an idea? Kweku, Ima, come again. So the two of you have come. And they all know that they've told you some things. They want to see the way you handle the thing.
I think you will have to use wisdom and then try to add. By telling them that from all the information you have gathered, now you're coming out to a conclusion on how to advise them.
You are not advising this time. You are doing counseling.
Yeah, you're counseling them, but because they came to you because they want to marry, right? Okay. Then you try to like for example, yeah, Imas told you had told the pastor that he has children and all of that. So in such a case, if I'm the one, I would try to tell them now that now is the time before you get married, that if there's anything that you think is a secret, it's better you say it so that it will not affect you people in the future. You know, it's good to be open to each other because any relationship that is built on trust will last. But anything that is not built on trust, anytime they discover it, it will cause problem. So I will just try to wrap it like that. So let the person now try to tell the partner what they are hiding, or a man should try to.
Now you are making it. I was going to give you 85%, but now you are doing it. So at this point, you are not going to tell the lady what the guy told you. You are not going to tell the guy what the lady told you. So what you're going to do now is that, having listened to you separately, you've told me things. As you leave here, I'm giving you 2 weeks. Go and be truthful to yourselves and come back. Because when they started dating, you were not there. So you should not be the one to collapse the relationship. Number 2, they are grown. They know how to confess to themselves. They should not go and say it is the counselor that destroyed our relationship. We loved ourselves, but as we went for counseling, the counselor destroyed our relationship. So give them time to go and make corrections and come back. So when they come back, you ask them, what did she tell you? What did he tell you? And because you have it already, you know what he has said. And so then you ask them again, what is the way forward? If the man did not say it and you know it, call the man again. That I have your data. You told me this, I told you go and then confess to your partner.
Okay.
And I said that you have time. Oh, okay, sorry.
Maybe I hold it.
No, it's okay. I said you have to engage him. You are engaging him like the Samaritan woman. Don't force things. Give him more time. Give him more time to be able to see the need to tell the person. You should not be the one telling the lady. He's grown enough to tell his own story. But you have to engage, because the goal of a counselor is helping your client to be able to resolve future problems. Are you getting it? So you give them time to go home and then do correction. It's just like a counselor asks you to go to the hospital or laboratory and do this test. When they present the test to the marriage committee, and in the test it is said that they are not compatible, will you tell them or you will not tell them? I'm asking you. Huh? You have to tell them. This is the result of the test. The test is saying that the two of you are not compatible based on this. And then they say to you that we know we are not compatible, yet we want to marry. You have to allow them. It is not a decision you made for them. Leave them. Leave them. For children, they go to a place, the whole place is a world. Papa, are you getting it? Okay, you get up. Mama, come. You. spend about 5 minutes. If you're a Christian, if you belong to a marriage committee, look at them, and they come to you for counseling, what would be the first thing you would do before you ask them anything? The first thing you would do. What would be the first thing you would do? Talk to the microphone. What would be the first thing you would do? As for this one, you should know. What is it, the first thing you would do before you start your session? Maybe that's the second or third.
Mm-hmm.
You pray.
Okay.
It's because it's a Christian counseling. You pray first. Okay?
Yes.
So anytime you have a client, your first thing is to do what?
Pray.
To pray first. What is the second thing? How may I help you? That's the second thing. What are two things that are involved? Talk to the microphone, madam. What are the two things that are involved in counseling?
Talking and listening.
Talking and listening. Can you demonstrate that?
So in this case, I will ask them why they have decided to take the lead, or why they have decided that they want to get married.
So ask them. Make it like you are doing a counseling. You have prayed with them.
Mm-hmm.
So now you are doing counseling. Start the process. So let's start from one.
So, Ima?
No. Number one,
Ne.
they've come to you, you've given them a place to sit.
Mm-hmm.
So you pray, and then you move on. Go to about 4 stages. Let's see.
So let's pray.
Good.
Father Lord, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for a day like this.
Mm-hmm.
We want to thank you for these two persons that are sitting in front of us here. We pray that all what we are going to deliberate, we'll put it in your hands. All this we ask in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen. So that's the first stage. Go to the second one. Take your time. It's good. That's it.
How can I help you?
Good.
Thanks, Ma. We are here to get married as a husband and wife. So we came for your advice.
Good. So when you were asking them, how may I help you? They were quiet. Now you are going to do the talking. What's the next thing? Good. Ima, or ladies first?
Ade, do you have any idea about getting involved in a marriage?
So she says no. What does it mean? It means now you are going to tell her what you know about marriage. And then you ask the man.
So I should answer her immediately.
No, ask the man.
Okay.
Yes.
Ima, do you have any idea about...
Don't panic. Just relax, Mama. Feel relaxed. And you are doing the best. Feel relaxed, cry.
Ima, do you have any idea about getting involved in marriage relationship?
Tell me in about 5 minutes.
No.
So, as they say, they don't have any idea. If you have a manual like this, having studied, then you share with them. Okay?
Yeah.
This manual, I brought only 6. So you share with them. You have to study them and then share with them. You can study many things. This is, if you take this book, for instance, it talks about precept for success. It says that when God created man, he blessed man and woman and declared them to be fruitful and multiply. It means God has laid the foundation for us, okay? And God said it is not good for the man to be alone. He didn't say man was lonely. You explain it to them. Then you go to the pre-marriage era. Marriage is God's own idea. Marriage doesn't come from England. It doesn't come from Europe. Marriage is God's idea. So as you read the book, then you talk about God's marital relationship with Israel. We complement each other in marriage when we marry. So if you are able to teach all these things, you are giving them an idea about marriage. Then you see, marriage is a mystery. God initiates marriage. Marriage was God's own idea. God set preset for humanity's success. God gave humanity master keys and all those stuff. When they come another week, you can teach them our 4 mandates. Okay?
Yeah.
So this book has 33 chapters. I think 32. If you study them, tomorrow bring money and come and buy. 32 chapters. You the counselor have to study them. And then as they come every week, you have something to teach them. Then, okay, that's okay. Let's clap for her. You come and sit down. You're going to demonstrate to us about closing the back door. What is the first thing you will do? Sit down. You want to help them to close the back door. What's the first thing you're going to do?
I have to send one of them away.
Thank you.
Please,
so who is going away?
Please, sister, can you step out a little bit? Thank you.
But you haven't prayed.
I have to pray also.
Christian counseling, you always have to pray.
Okay, because it's a different week. Okay, sorry.
It's a different week. Anytime they come, you pray.
Sorry.
When you close, you pray.
Okay.
It's okay. Time's sake.
Okay.
So what are you going to do? You want to help him close the back door. What are some of the potential questions you'll be asking?
Okay. Brother Emma, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you've had a past relationship before.
No, I do not have any past relationship.
Okay. But have you ever admired any game before?
Good.
As a man, sometimes. But right now, since I've seen this one, it's no more there.
Okay. But what happened that you did not engage with one of the girls?
Good. Good question.
Okay. As I say, if I look at things he's doing, I don't think I can stay with that one.
Okay. You haven't finished. Hey, more questions.
Okay. All right. Also,
there are many girls in this church, in this community.
Yeah.
Why have you?
Yeah. So, what is your reason why you've choose Sister Ade instead of others?
Since I'm Christian, actually, I have to pray to God and ask the one I should be with. So, since I was praying, this is what God told me I should marry.
Actually, God revealed her to you.
Yeah, that's it.
Can you explain to me how God revealed her to you?
Very good. You are brooding further. You understand that what you are doing is that you are brooding further. You don't want to conclude that because he said God revealed that is so. You want to brood further. That's why you ask, can you prove it? Good. I like that.
Yeah. As I was saying, as a Christian, if you want to marriage, everything, you have to actually ask God first. So I prayed and I asked favor from God. This is the time for me to marry. So which one should I marry? And the lady I saw, he's in our church. So when I was praying, God showed something that this the lady I have to. Then actually he just mentioned the name. That's what I can say for now.
How did God mention the name?
You are hearing story. Good.
How did God mention the name to you?
Because I pray. And when we are praying too, you hear the voice of the Lord. So sometimes you hear the voice of the Lord, and I'm a Christian. So actually, he revealed to me in prayers.
Okay, so you are a counselor, and you are brooding further, but he keeps telling you that God spoke, God spoke. You can't deny the fact that God did not speak. Are you getting it? Because when it comes to God's relationship with individuals,
Yeah, you cannot judge it.
you cannot judge the person. So what you can do is, okay, based on what you are saying, I'm accepting it. Who are you to say God? Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So I want you to ask another question about the social life. Anything with the government. To go there and
Okay, Emma. Well, it's a good thing that you said God revealed it to you. I also want to find out: is there anything that I should know about you? Something in your past that I need to know about?
then be blunt. Do you owe a money?
Okay.
Have you done something that your partner does not know and hears, which can cause the collapse of this marriage? Have you been to prison before? Have you been jailed before? Have you been arrested by police here? Have you married before? Go to the past and ask potential questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Emma, yeah, though you told me you've not been in a relationship before,
Very
but
good.
do you have any kids?
No.
Very good.
Okay.
Since I have not been in a relationship, I cannot have kids.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
good.
Okay.
That's good.
That's a good one. Have you had any criminal records?
No, as a Christian, I want to live an example life as Christ. So actually, I haven't committed any sin.
Good.
When did you become a Christian? Even when did you give your life
love
to
that.
Christ?
Because my mom and dad was Christian. So as I was a child, I started worship with them. That's why.
Powerful.
That's nice.
Let's put our hands together for them. This is powerful. This is powerful. I'm enjoying the thing. You've done very well, all of you. So please, let me share this before we go to our last session. When you are starting a counseling session, as a counselor, don't panic. Because one, your client need to know that he or she had come to the right person. Are you getting it? Let your client know that he had come to the right person. So if your client is telling you something and you are panicking, then it means that, where is he? You understand that? How can you help a client who is telling you a problem and then you, the counselor, you are panicking? And no. It shouldn't be that. You have to gather confidence as you sit there and then you hear the story of whatever. Okay. Let's go ahead. Yes. No, yes. Because I said for this one, is the main thing about counseling.
So I still have a question concerning if a man still refuses to tell the lady
or the woman
refuses to tell the other person that I had this issue, I have this issue. What will you do as a counselor to make sure that, because she needs to know, the other person needs to know, must know. How do we inform the person?
I explain it using the Samaritan woman. You have to engage the person, but don't force it. Let the person know the truth you want him to know gradually.
Okay.
Exactly.
But he can still go and refuse to talk. That's a question.
Let's talk one by one. If he doesn't say everything, I said you should tell him the potential problem ahead of not saying it. Have you forgotten, Pastor?
Yes, sir.
Osofo, enipa no, we didn't think about confiding in you, say, Owoba. But also one person, a girlfriend, a Betty. And I will catch her, they say, it will help the marriage, the future of this marriage, if we are able to break it to your girlfriend. Because definitely somebody will tell her.
But Pastor, there are some people who can really keep secret.
It's true.
Yeah, like they don't want to say it. And in that case now, as a marriage committee, will you go on ahead with that marriage?
No, you leave it to the person. And I said you have the data. So when you are there and one day you hear the marriage is over, then you can say to the person, I told you.
Okay.
To allow them marry, bless the wedding with that secret that you
No,
know.
it's not your duty to tell them whether they should marry or not marry. That's not your work. As a counselor.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. The pastor. Of course. It's the same as they brought the report of the lab. And you, the pastor, says to them that the lab is saying you are incompatible. They say no, whether we are incompatible or what, we will pray and become compatible.
Yeah, but pastor, that one is different.
And what I'm saying is that, you see, this is dicey. When the people were coming to you for counseling, they were coming to you because they were in love. They didn't even know the process and the things you were going to teach until you got there.
Yeah.
When some truth
Came out.
came out.
Yeah.
Your work as a counselor is to give recommendation. I recommend that this thing that you don't want us to talk to your partner is a potential problem.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I've told you over and over this evening. There are people, they come to counselors. Whether you agree with them or you don't agree with them, they will go and marry.
Yeah.
What about that? They will go to a different church and marry. What about that? Because honestly, when people are badly and madly in love, they don't care about the problem we have, whether I'm an HIV plus or whatever, God will heal us. And they go, then they die. You understand that? So you, the counselor, your work is to engage that person. I've used the word engage. Engaging means that the counseling you are doing is a long haul. So through the long haul, anytime the person comes, show him to that problem he's hiding. That this marriage, I foresee that it will have a future. Based on this. But you can say that based on this, you can't marry. Are you saying, are you, because when you do that, honestly, when you do that, you are being domineering and authoritative. Go ahead.
Okay, praise God. This is a very sensitive question. And, okay, so I'm going to paint a scenario, and I'm going to answer the question. Oh, sorry. Share my own opinion on that.
Okay.
Professionally, I'm a counselor.
Thank you.
And I remember some years back, I have this couple in my ministry, because I also run a ministry. We're in the same church, and they have a married community. They have a counselor in the church that see them. Of course, because they are also part of my fellowship, so I still talk to the wife. But in the conversation...
They were married?
No, they were just getting married, so they are going through premarital counseling from the church.
You said wife, that's why I'm asking.
Okay. So she's a member of my ministry. So from my conversation with the couple,
the would-be couple, they were about to marry.
The to-be couple.
To-be couple, yeah.
Right, is I can see the incompatibility.
Okay.
Right. And for me, say, when it is professional level, there are some things I don't do, I don't say. I go by the book.
Okay.
But when it is my people, I go off record, because my mission is to save life. I believe every life is worth saving. And once upon a time, I used to be married, and I wanted someone, there's some things I wanted some people who stood as a guide, the pastors, the married committee, to have said to me at the time, that could have actually saved me from the mess that I had to go through. But they didn't, because they felt it's their life. Or they felt like, okay, we just want to get them married and all of that. So the married, I had to look for who is your counselor in the church. So I get to know who has been counseling them, because this couple are not to be married. Right. I'm not going to say yes to it. Though it's not in my own power to do that. They have to make the choice. So I went to their counselor and I'm like, man, I noticed you guys have been talking to this, but I don't think they should go ahead with the marriage. And the counselor said, Ade, I must tell you, I also agree and said the same thing, but they want to go ahead. And I said, see, if people come to church for one reason or the other, and I believe our place in the church as pastors, being the guide and the lead, we ought to direct our people, because they can't see. Because they are in that place, emotional, everything is, they are governed by their emotions.
So our whole role is to guide them. If we have to break protocols, we will do that, but not on our watch. We will allow them to go into that space, because divorce is very, very expensive. It's not a place you want anybody to go through, because when they start going into it, you, pastor, you won't be there. So there are some things we need to really, really confront, because there is a place of spirituality. There is a place of mental and psychological aspect of it, right? So the church went ahead and married. I didn't attend. I only went to that day. I just gave them the prayer. I just said to her, I said, this is not going to last. You're just fooling yourself. Right, because the guy is so clear, he's glaring that the guy doesn't really love her, and she just wanted marriage.
Exactly.
I tell you, this lady and the other lady, like, in just few weeks, there is trouble in the marriage. But who am I to say, yeah, I told you, but that's not my place. So as counselor, because see, the truth is that we need to stand our ground. This is not monetary. We are not monetizing counseling here. We are here to be guardians to our members. So if they come to us, it means they trusted us. If not, they would have as well gone to a professional counselor to go meet them, or go to look for any minister to come bless them. They can do their marriage anywhere. They don't need to come to church. But for the fact that they are coming to church, it means they are saying our life is in your hand.
Exactly.
So yes, today, see, because a lot of, it's better for them to, you don't have to worry whether they're going to marry elsewhere or not, but not on your watch. Not with your home blessings. Not that I told you, no. So for me, I think we really need to eradicate that aspect of, the way we do things in the church, whereby we say, okay, if they don't want to listen, they want to go ahead, we go ahead. No. Not in this church. You guys can go, but not you can get married. And you can still come to the church to worship with us. But when it comes to that, I'm not going to boot you, because what I'm doing is that I'm already selling you guys, it's a mission on suicide. It's a suicide. See, I don't pray divorce for anybody. That's a suicide mission. If you have been there, if you work there. So I'm sorry. And also for marriage committees. So one of the things I do, even in the professional line, I also pray for my clients. Yeah. You intercede on that, because they want to do what they want to do. They want what they want. Mm-hmm. But is that what they actually needed? So is our position, it's not about the money they are giving to us. So I'm really happy that we're actually having this conversation, because these are things we don't do in church. We just put people, because this person is pastor's wife. Oh, this one is an elder in the church. Oh yeah, everybody to go to marriage committee. No, are they qualified for that? So I just feel like, yes, to your question, that they shouldn't be married. They shouldn't be joined together. Yes, they can go ahead outside to do that. But as a church, what we are doing, and you will tell them with love, because I love you. So I'm doing this. I wouldn't do it, but yeah, it's a choice, and allow them. Thank you.
You've really touched the nail on the head.
Yeah.
But I would like to add a few things to what you said.
Okay, Papa. Let them also answer, or you summarize it when they finish. Or this one also wants to contribute.
Oh, okay.
Add to what she said.
Okay.
Because actually, there's also a video I watched online of a pastor who realized something on the wedding day, and he said, I'm not going forward with this. And it was simply because the two were coming together for papers. And he said, this is not truthful, and I cannot bless it. And he left. And people criticized him for it. But to me, they shouldn't criticize him for doing that. Because the true value of Christianity, we are taking it out. And we want to put pleasure, and we saw people coming because we want people to get married and stuff like that. And we are leaving the right ingredients that come to marriage, and we're taking it out. Marriage, for sure, is not a bed of roses. There are problems. But there is one thing we say on the altar. Do you know of any lawful impediment? But why do we only put lawful? When we make it lawful, we are simply taking it to, have you committed any crime or whatever? But it has to go beyond just lawful impediment. It has to go of, do you know of anything? Just the anything will bring everything together. And that one now is like what she said. To me, I will stand on what she said. That pastor, if you want, Jesus Christ will not do that. So why should we do it? He will not.
Jesus Christ will not do what?
He will not put those two together.
How do you know that?
Because there is one thing.
Wait.
There is one thing. The Bible said he is truth. Jesus himself is truth. Okay? He is not lies. He calls Satan the father of all lies. So these two coming together are not revealing lies. So if he is truth, he will not bring lies together.
Exactly.
So that is why I stand by saying he will not put them together. So we should not encourage it, because we are representing him.
Christ.
And if we are representing him, then we should do what he will do.
Thank you. I've seen another hand here. You people are telling me things very deep. Very deep. Next time when we, Pastor, make announcement for such a thing, we will come. Papa, talk.
Okay. I want to ask a question on the comment, our minister comment about if somebody asks question, if Jesus have to recommend something like that, Jesus will not do it. Fine. So I want to ask a question that if Jesus will not do it, when they brought the woman to be stoned, caught in adultery, the whole people knows that, no, this is the law. And this is not good. So they will surely kill her. But what did Jesus did? Did Jesus said, stone the person to death, or Jesus seconded them? But Jesus was asking a question, that if any of you. So in case of somebody who maybe in Europe, they are saying, no, because of paper, they are coming to do the marriage. But it is not a proper marriage or this thing. It is a lot which is happening in Europe. Even pastors have been accepting themselves even for women to give them the paper. And if you go to, not in the church, but if you go to the state house to get that paper for marriage, they don't go into some things like that. But if a pastor who said, oh, this is not right, they should not get married so that they can get the paper. That in that instant, if I'm looking at it, people who criticize that, oh, why didn't the pastor have the marriage done so that they can have a proof from the church to help them, that because if today the man or the woman has been sent to Ghana, or police have arrested him illegally, and he's in prison now, you know how people will talk. When we come about spiritual things, we are in spiritual things. But when Jesus, who is the master of spiritual things, even condemn these people who are lawful to read, that is where I am asking, is this also something we have to ignore people if they wanted to do a paper?
Somebody want to talk?
My hand is up. Please, I'll answer you, Papa. Okay, Papa, based on what you said concerning Jesus not stoning, not allowing the woman to be stoned, I don't think it's related to what he actually explained, because Jesus came to preach forgiveness. And that was why Jesus did not allow that woman should be stoned. And then now coming to the fact that about paper, yeah, we know that is a lot that is happening in Europe, but the church is the church. The Bible says we should buy the truth and sell it not. The church needs to always stand on the truth, no matter what. You know, yeah, I know we have compromised a lot because of the society where we are and all of that, but it doesn't mean that we are supposed to do it. Because if the pastor is ignorant of the fact that the people are marrying because of paper, that is not his problem. He goes ahead and bless the marriage. But if he knows that it is something fake, then he's not supposed to do it.
People,
that's my opinion.
Let me bring us back to the course we are doing. There is no perfect counselor in the world. We don't have a perfect counselor. whether from a professional point of view or from a Christian point. We don't have a professional counselor. The course we are doing, if you want to be a Christian counselor, you need to depend upon the Holy Spirit. Why? Because when we were talking, I said that there are spectacles you need to wear. Because if you are going to look at everything from a Christian perspective, the Bible, we are not doing theology here, but as I stand before you right now, the Bible, Abraham and Sarah were going to a place, and he said, when they ask you, there you are my sister, you call it a lie? I'm coming. But when you do theology, I'm coming. When you do theology, it is not called a lie. It's a social ethic. You can't call Abraham a liar based on that. Because there was a situational problem that called for that. But you can't say Abraham did that, so I'll be doing that all the time in my life. It's so sad that we are about to finish this course. It should have been 2 days or more days. Listen to me. The work you have started, the training you have started acquiring to become counselors and to give care and guidance, there are all sorts of people who will confront you, whether on the spot or in the long haul. And I said, counseling involves talking and listening. Sometimes as a counselor, you listen to somebody's issue. And when the person finished talking, there's absolutely nothing in your mind to tell the person. Because the story the person is telling you is so complicated and complex to extent that you will need to depend solely on the wisdom of God to give answer. People have issues. I'm telling you, people have problems they have kept for years and ages. They don't get the right people to tell them. And when they start telling, you begin to, that's why confidentiality is very important in counseling. So I wanted to say something to what my sister said. You see, all that she said, perfect. But you see, every church, the point I want to add to what you said, every church must have a timeline for everything. For example, in this church, if everybody has to go through a 3 months or 6 months premarital counseling before they marry, nobody should be exempted. Nobody should come for 2 weeks and then the person is going to marry. If it is 6 months, it's the tradition of the church. The person must go through 6 months. Now, if the pastor makes it aware to the committee that in the course of the counseling, and let me say this, in the course of the counseling, I've told people who come to my school, a counselor is not a policeman. Back in Ghana, I don't know about here, there are many churches, they will be asking you as part of their questions, have you slept? In other words, have you had sex? And the moment you want to be truthful and say that yes, we have slept, then they will tell you that you can't marry. And that shouldn't be the case. Let me give you a scenario. Part of my wife's external family are Liberians. There were 2 siblings. I'm telling you this from something I am aware. There were 2 siblings. They're all Christians. But before they married, if I may have married my wife, know my wife for 37 years, so I know them very well. Before they married, this brother was living with a girlfriend in the same house. They were sleeping, of course, and everything, but they go to church. But this brother, he never at one time slept with a girlfriend. So this one married the wife first. And this one married the wife later. So sometimes when the two brothers have a problem and they are talking, this one will be insulting this one. You say you are a Christian. You committed premarital sex and fornication and whatever. I'm standing in Christ-minded chapel. I'm saying this without fear, with humility. After 6 years, the man who never slept with the wife, he beat the wife. The wife had the eye problem. This one who slept with the wife, they are still marrying. So let me tell you, I'm not condoning something. Sometimes people become better people after making mistakes. That's why as a counselor, don't be a policeman and say to people, according to the Bible, when you wear the Christian spectacle, that's when you can do that. Like Jesus met a Samaritan woman. The first knowing of Christ is that, how can you Jew? Did Jesus say to her, why do you ascribe me to an ordinary Jew? Because she didn't know Jesus. Jesus need to stand there, allow the woman to know him from one step to. You understand that? Jesus, who dare you to call me a Jew? I'm the Son of God, right? And then the conversation continued, and then the woman said, sir, you go and read John chapter 4. It's there. Then he moved on. He said, are you a prophet? When Jesus said, go and bring your husband, you might be a prophet. Then the woman said, now I know you are the Messiah. That's what I'm saying as a counselor, brood feather. Your work is not to tell them they will marry or they will not marry, because they should not break their relationship in your presence. Give them recommendation. Based on the counseling I have had with you, I recommend that this can be a problem. That's the work of the counselor. Having been with you for 3 months or 5 months, I see this as a problem. And based on this marriage doesn't have a future. Whether they will divorce or not, it's a second level. Is that okay? Please, all that I'm saying is that nobody is perfect. If you're a counselor and you are giving care and guidance, it doesn't make you perfect. Don't go and destroy people's relationships. Make recommendations to them. Because there are people there are people who have report, and the report indicates that they can't marry. And yet they go and marry. And things change. It doesn't happen all the time. But there are people who have super faith. If they tell you they will go and marry despite they have HIV, AIDS or not, that's not your problem. All that you can do is to make recommendation. My brother, listen to my word. I believe that this thing will not help you. He said, Pastor, you bless us. We are Christians. We are born again. We will challenge God in prayer. We believe God will heal my wife. God will heal my husband. Who are you to say that they can't marry? So, but if you have in your tradition that, if it's in your tradition that anything that is not fully disclosed, based on that, the two of them cannot marry, I think the church will know before they come to you. Because after going for a 3 months or 6 months counseling, they have to go back to see the pastor. The counselors have to give report to the pastor. Pastor, this brother or this sister, we're finding a little problem with them. What should we do? Bring them to me. And then the pastor will engage them for a couple of times. For me, the first thing, most of the times, the thing I do, when people come to me for counseling and they've already fixed a date, the first thing I tell them, I advise them if they can cancel the date. And most of them, they don't cancel. Why I ask them to cancel the date is that when we go into their back life and things start coming out, having fixed the date, what would they do about it? But when people are ready to marry, no counseling is enough. Yes, you want to say something? Let's bring it to a close because...
Yes. I wanted first of all to talk about what Papa said about people want to. That one, they don't need the church now. They can go to the commune, sign your whatever there. It has got nothing to do with us. If you sign and agree that we all know what is
I'm
happening,
glad you people are bringing this subject.
we all know what is happening and we want to marry, I will bless you people.
Europe.
You have let the cat out of the bag. We are talking about a situation where there is a cat in the bag and you don't want to let it out. And like he said, it's a potential problem.
It's a potential problem.
So what
You have to
becomes of
let
that?
them know.
Yes. So what becomes of that?
Exactly. That is it. Papa, use the microphone.
In fact, this is a very, very sensitive issue that as men of God, we are the people that are between life and death. You have to be able to make decisions for people because whatever you blessed, we expect that it leave. It should not die. And doesn't mean that every marriage that was blessed was able to survive.
Okay.
Some died along the line. But we expect that the man of God will always stand on the truth. Tell them what is ahead if the people are still willing to go together. Because the moment you endorse them and you release your blessing on them, it means that you are doing it based on the truth of God's word. And it's not what they are telling you, but what you know that is right about them. So if they are lying to you and you know that they are telling lies, but they don't want the world to know that they are telling you lies, then it means that you, the man of God, you are also a culprit in their act. So that is also a difficult thing to do as a man of God. There are things that are not so critical to say, okay, yeah, we can advise you on. I know somebody who came to this church and the person had an HIV, virus, was being treated, But the lady met a guy, the guy knew, and he said they will still marry. They have 2 children now, and they are living a happy life. They got married after telling the person, this is my situation. You see? And I know that this one, even though I was not the one who blessed them, they are no longer here. They left the church, they married, and now they are having a family and everything. I still visit them. I still have a good relation with them. But the marriage was successful. Why? Because the guy said something. I love her even though she has this thing. And I'm going to live with her and we'll make children. I don't know what happened. There was no longer anything again. And then they have their life now. So God is able to change every situation. God is able to change every situation. I know, I'm witness to them. So now, when I see them, I even thank God for what God, because the Lord canceled what the doctor said about the lady. He could have also made her incapable of getting married. But the faith of that guy, and the truth is that the guy was not even a Christian. But he stood that this is the woman I find myself in.
So, thank you.
So
please, can I-
I'm just going to conclude that based on those things, if the two have that agreement that whatever it is they are going to go through and they are ready to sacrifice for each other, and you give them your word and bless them, it is the data that he was talking about, that as a man of God, you keep those data there, that indeed you people call for it. I advise you. And sometimes the people who challenge you and you know that it is the fact that this thing is going to happen, sometimes it happens quickly and they come back to you that what you said has come to pass and marriage doesn't even survive. I've seen it also. Some people advise them in the office, this thing you are going to do will not work. It will not last. Yet they went on. Some also left the church, but it happened to them. And so when it comes to relationship, especially in this part of our world, there are many things that stands in their way, but we don't encourage that we should endorse what is not right. Let's give the right advice. For those who are acting based on their faith and knowing well that sometimes even you, the counselor or the man of God, will know that these people, they are throwing challenge to God, and they believe that they can go through what they are going to face in life, and they will survive. Amen.
So, in conclusion, let me say that we don't have a perfect counselor.
So please, before you conclude, please, I just want to say something.
Okay.
I love the way you put it this way. That in marriage counseling, we are just, it's something like the world view. We have the world view and the Christian view. And you said we can wear the world glasses and the Christian glasses. Sometimes.
But you have your leg on or your foot on the Bible, which is your authoritative book.
Yes, sir. Okay, now going to what our sister said, and going to what you said concerning Jesus Christ when he met that woman at the well. You know, Jesus started with the well lens.
The word lens.
Yeah,
Give me water.
Yes. He started with the well lens with that woman.
Theologians will say he started from the natural. To the supernatural. Yeah, okay. So I think in that case, we have to start with them from that perspective. We are zooming it, bring it into the Christian perspective. Exactly. That should
and
be
then
a goal.
In the Christian perspective now, since it's an issue of choice, I think then we have to tell them, like, closing the back door now. We will say, if you don't tell her this, then you have that problem tomorrow. So sometimes, like we said, it is their will. Some for us, they want to go and marry without despising the consequences of what you have told them about the back door. So I think, from what our sister said, I think at the end of the day, we should just make it clear to them that as a Christian, it doesn't work like that.
I've said all these things. I've said you have to make recommendations. At the end of each counseling session, the counselor has to make a recommendation. Say to them, having been with you for 3 months, I foresee that this thing you are keeping as a secret is a potential problem. You can't let them go without making a recommendation. But it is not your work to tell them that based on the negativity, you want them to go and cancel the relationship. The back door.
I think the best for, what works for a particular denomination might not work for.
Exactly.
So like you said, there is a manual that we use for premarital counseling, right? So aside the manual, there is also a doctrine for the church, for the marriage committee, right? So these are the do's and the don'ts of the church. So we take you through 3 months, right? And there is a clause. Before we can marry you in this church.
Yes.
So you have to pass some certain things. Some church might ask for pregnancy tests, all these other tests and all of that. At what point? So, but for this, we are here as in what we stand for, we are standing on truth, right? And the Bible is our own manual, right? So what I'm saying, like, the church you have, like, yes, if you want to go ahead, but according to our whole rules, in this church.
Now you are answering the thing. I don't mean to cut you. No problem. Listen to the scenario Pastor gave to us. That woman who had the HIV/AIDS, he said the partner wasn't even a Christian. Now watch this. Something Pastor just said. The lady was HIV positive. The guy was not a Christian. So the pastor who blessed this marriage, if he had not taken it upon himself to bless it, and this lady went away and the guy went away, and later on the pastor said it was revealed that the man didn't have HIV, what do you think this woman would have said to the church or the pastor? Pastor, I brought my soulmate. And based on HIV, and you know, when HIV and AIDS came some 15 years ago, the stigmatization, now it's not a big deal. The COVID, it has come to stay with us. So right now, if somebody is having COVID sitting here, it's not a big issue. Yeah. The point we are making is that, please, the work we have started, the training we have started, we are not saying that every issue that comes to you, you will have answer verbatim. Most of the cases that will come to you, you have to depend on the Holy Spirit for. Because per individual to individual, let's say 5 people come to you with the same problem, the Holy Spirit will not let you tell them the same thing. Because personalities are different. Let me tell you this. I've been coming to Europe. Sometimes before I preach in the church, it is the pastors who will tell me, Reverend, you know about Europe? You are a marriage counselor. You know about Europe? This kind of preaching, you can't preach here. I'm telling you. Some pastors will tell me before I even step the church. Therefore, if you are coming to preach about certain things, somebody has already stepped on your toes and told you. So it's like you want to adjust the message. And you are saying that we should preach the truth. How should we preach the truth? We should preach it in love. I was in Hamburg. I think about 7 years ago, I was in Hamburg. And there was this pastor friend. He's even a doctor right now. He said, Reverend Kwateng, you know the problem we are facing in Europe here about marriage. And as I travel in Europe, the things I'm seeing and hearing. So even yet, was it yesterday? I was in Germany. There is this couple, anytime I'm in Europe, I visit them. When we sit, we can sit for 4 hours, yet we won't finish. There are many people who are marrying in Europe. You know, back in Africa, they had wedding. But in here, they are girlfriend and wife. And this thing we are even talking about here, I don't want him to record. When these people hear, is that what these people are doing here? Are you getting it? Why? It's because of this kind of marriage that gives some people paper.